not having a
No.
political subdivision Okay, so we may have some technical difficulties that we just experienced here.
Oh, yeah.
I would say let's go back
Yep.
and ask for public comment online again,
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
because it seems that
It
it was
was
not set on
when it-
record.
No,
I mean, on
it was-
audio, so nobody online.
Must have been
heard
when
us.
it glitched.
They didn't hear it.
No,
Yeah.
no. No, Jill is sending me messages telling me, there's Gabriel, but Jill is sending me
Okay.
messages asking if we started and she could not hear us, so.
Oh, hold on, Gabe, just a sec. Yeah, and I can't hear him. We are having tech
It might
issues.
be his side on his speaker, his microphone.
Okay, well, let's try ours again. Okay, I guess go back to public comment and see if there's any regular public comment.
Do we have anybody on Zoom who would like to address the sewer increase under public hearing? Since you couldn't hear before.
Jill can hear us.
Okay,
She can hear us now?
Yes.
Okay,
okay.
all right. Seeing none on Zoom, we will move on to the Safe Water Protection Plan. Gabriel Mata, can you hear us now?
We
We can't hear you.
There's something going on with his microphone.
All right, it is a Monday on a Tuesday.
I love Zoom.
When it glitched a few minutes ago, it must have just messed everything up. Oh. Okay, he says he can hear.
Hello, hello, hello.
Check.
Yay, we got you. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. We're having
Wonderful.
little difficulties on both ends, it looks like.
Okay. Perfect, beautiful.
All right, and I did share the PowerPoint, although here, since you didn't have yours open, you can borrow mine. I shared the slides, but just so they would
Okay.
have a copy to follow. But if you want to request to share screen, then you can go through it if you want.
Okay, would y'all like me to share my screen and just go through the PowerPoint presentation for everyone? Or how would you like to proceed on
Sure,
this?
that's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Give me a minute. Okay. Let me go here. Share. Okay, I need to send a request to give me permission to share.
Hey, got it.
Okay.
Supposed to see. Oh, super.
Is there waiting on something?
No, I allowed him to, he requested to share and I allowed him.
Okay.
Yeah, you should have gotten notice that it was okay. No, I mean, there we go.
All right. Can y'all see my screen?
Yep, we can, yes, we
Okay.
can see you. We can see your screen.
All right. Let me go here. Okay, so are we good?
Yeah,
No, I'm going to.
Okay. So I'm here today to share with y'all the source water assessment and protection program and planning for the town of Kiowa. Today is, of course, April 8th, 2025. And my name is Gabriel Mata. I work for the Colorado Rural Water Association. We are the assistants for Colorado's water and wastewater systems. Colorado Rural Water Association, we're funded through the USDA and through the state. We work real closely with the CDPHE, Robert Murphy and Kristen Hughes. Colorado SWAP program is a non-regulatory program. Stakeholder involvement, education, awareness. It's a proactive approach preventing the pollution of drinking water sources, groundwater, lakes, rivers, and streams. Source water protection is the first barrier to providing safe drinking water. We like to think of ourselves as a resource, it starts with your source water, but we have a lot of people, a lot of knowledgeable people in the water industry. So we like to consider ourselves a resource for anything that you may have or anything that may come up, questions or concerns regarding your water. And why do we want to protect our drinking water sources? Our water is valuable to us. We want to protect the health of our communities. We want to try to reduce the cost of water treatment. If we can, start at the source of our water and protect it, that will definitely help reduce the cost of our treatment. Risk of contamination, we want to reduce that. And then to avoid expensive cleanup costs. And with this source water protection plan, it comes with a $5,000 SWP grant via the state CDPHE. And you guys are already approved for this grant. We got it approved in 2023, I believe. So we have time to work on this. It does have an expiration date of the end of this August. But now that we have the ball and the process rolling again, we can get an extension. We can request an extension to make sure you guys can utilize the grant money where you need it. So the CDPHE grant funding, it's a $5,000 grant for eligible public water systems in Colorado. It's a funding for source water protection. It has to be used towards the source water protection and any best management practices that you may see. It can be used towards plan development, best management practice implementation. It's a matching grant, cash or in-kind time. So as I was saying earlier, you've already been approved for this grant. So since we've had approval, all the work that I've done with Sasha or Kimberly or anybody on source water protection, that's already been documented, and that time has already been accounted for towards the in-kind match. And for this meeting here, everybody in attendance will be documented and added towards the in-kind match. So the steps of developing a source water protection plan, we start here with stakeholder involvement. We need to form a steering committee, which we've kind of already started that. We've got a stakeholder list that me and Kimberly started, and we'll continue to update that as we continue, as we move forward. Example of stakeholders, it could be anybody from your community, it could be members, board members, government officials, state and or federal. It could be private landowners, farmers, small business owners, anybody that you guys feel that would play a good part in this source water protection plan. So the next step is to delineate the source water protection area. So all of these steps, I facilitate and I get all the information. The CDPHE provides us with great ArcGIS maps with our delineation of our source water. So all of this work I'll put together. And of course, I may have questions from time to time or reach out to some of the stakeholders that may be able to help me. So the source water delineation, basically these are the maps that the CDPHE provides for us. And this is just an example here. You have your red zone here, which would be the closest to your source of water. So that's I guess the most important area of concern. So when we start looking at this delineation map, we look at your source water and we look at what is inside of that delineation's circle to determine if there could be any potential sources of contamination. And as we go along, if you decide you want to change your delineation map, the other map on the bottom right there is just an example of how another town changed their delineation map. So the next step would be inventory of potential sources of contamination and prioritization. So we've got our map. Now we're looking inside that map to see if there are any potential sources of contamination. And these are just some examples here of potential sources of contamination. We know wildfire is a big one here in Colorado. If your source water is close to a major highway, or are there potential, is there a chance for chemical spills or car accidents? A lot of vehicles leak, transmission fluid, oil, and things like that. So these are just some examples and some of the stuff, to give us a base to start, to look at. So once we start looking at them, we'll prioritize them with this matrix that we use. We call it the SWAP Risk Assessment Matrix. And as we're looking at this is all decided among the stakeholder group, because ultimately this is your source water protection plan. The stakeholders for the town of Kiowa are the ones that make these decisions, and that's what goes into the source water protection plan. So if you look to the left here, probability of impact, it goes from rare to certain. And that could be very low all the way up to low. And then down here on the bottom, from left to right, you got impact to the water system, which is insignificant to catastrophic. So that's how we assess these potential sources of contamination. So once we prioritize the potential contaminants, we'll put them in the proximity zone here. This is just an example here. What zone do they fall into? Do they fall into our zone 1, 2, or 3? And then we determine if is it controllable? Is it direct control, indirect, or we have no control over it at all? And then we have to look at impact to the water system. Is it insignificant, minor, significant, major, catastrophic? And this is all done with the risk matrix. And then we'll give them a priority ranking. And the priority ranking we'll give it a number of 1 to 5, depending on how we determine, the priority of it is for the source water and for the system. And that's all determined with the stakeholders during these meetings. So next we have identify the best management practices. So now we have our potential sources of contamination. So now we want to look at best management practices. What can we do, to try to alleviate some of these problems? And again, here's some examples. It looks like a well house here, and they've got a security fence around it. So that's a kind of a popular thing: security fences, security cameras. And this is kind of a wish list. This isn't this is what necessarily this has to be done, because you may have bigger projects in the future that you want to put in your source water protection plan. So when there's future funding available and stuff, it's already documented in your source water protection plan. And when you go to apply for some of those dollars, you've already kind of got it documented. You already have a footprint and a roadmap for your water system. So possible best management practices, like I said, education, a lot of flyers, signage, just making the general public, the people that live in your community aware that this is a source water protection area, and it's important and we want to protect it. Here's another one. So with this source water protection plan, it comes with 7 of these signs provided by the CDPHE, and you can put them wherever you want to put them. And they're nice big metal signs, and you may have seen some of them around Colorado rural areas. So that's another plus there. So then, once we've determined the best management practices, I'll write the source water protection plan, and then we'll implement the BMPs in the plan. And again, this is all decided by the stakeholders from the town of Kiowa. And again, it's a roadmap. It's a living document. And, some things, yes, you can definitely accomplish and want to accomplish and do, but then there may be some bigger issues or things you want to accomplish that we can put in there and write it as such, like I said, for the future. Are there other dollars coming down the pipeline? What do you need? What are you trying to do for the future? So in summary, it's source water protection. It's a local community's proactive approach to protecting the source of their drinking water, the identification, prioritization, and mitigation of known or potentially harmful contaminants to drinking water supplies, public awareness, and stewardship of healthy water resources. So the takeaway message here, the grant match can be met with in-kind time and no out-of-pocket cost to the water system. And like I said, we're already documenting your in-kind time, so we're doing good. CRWA will assist the public water system with the entire process from start to finish. I take care of all the documentation, all the in-kind match spreadsheets. When it comes time to spend the money, I'll submit those documents to the CDPHE on what the BMP plan is and what you want to spend the money on. So I'll take care of all the documents and get those submitted and filled out, of course, with, the help of the town of Kiowa and stakeholders. Sometimes we need specific signatures or things like that. And CRWA's swap services are free of charge. We're a nonprofit organization. We're here to help the rural communities of Colorado protect our source water. So this is just a little map here showing all the blue stars are source water protection plans that have been completed. Some of these red triangles have been completed already, and some are in process. So we're doing pretty good. There's still a lot of rural communities that we need to work with. And then some have already had a source water protection plan done, and now they want to do an update. So as we go on in your source water protection plan, it can be written in there that you want to look at it every 1 to 5 years or every 5 years, just to see if there's any updating that needs to be done. And with the update, you also have an opportunity to get another $5,000 grant with the update. So all that's determined on the stakeholders from the town of Kiowa and how they want their roadmap to look and what they want it to say. So thank you for your time, and thank you for inviting me to your town meeting. I've been a little under the weather last week, and I didn't want to show up and get anybody sick. And I think that's why my voice is a little harsh. But in the future, I'd love to come out to the communities and shake hands with people and work with people and just get a better feel for everything. And I have been to Kiowa a few times and met with Kimberly and maybe a few other people. And so if there's anything that y'all need, questions, I'm available. That's my cell phone number, best number to reach me, and email. Please feel free. Any questions or concerns or anything, I'm here as a resource. And here's Colorado Rural Water Association. Here's their number and their website here. And that's all I have for y'all today. Do y'all have any questions on source water protection and planning? I know this has kind of been long overdue, and we've started the process, and you know, a lot of times life stuff happens and we have to take a pause, but I'm excited to start working with the town of Kiowa again, and you know, we can make this move as fast as y'all want to move it. It is a process, and we have to cover those bases, the main bases that we talked about there. But I'm available anytime, and a lot of communities like to kind of incorporate it into their town meeting, and we can like add 30 minutes to the town meeting if that works, or schedule a completely different date. I'm flexible, and I'm here willing to work with the town and the stakeholders there of Kiowa.
Gabriel, that's what I was gonna ask you, if you could speak to, you had told me there were different avenues the Colorado Rural Water has taken to get this safe water plan accomplished. Now, you know, I think I explained to you that we're feeling some feeling overwhelmed with the number of projects we have going on in Kiowa, and the necessity to have committees or commissions for all of those, and having numerous meetings in person. You said there were some alternative methods that you're using now to get this stakeholder meetings accomplished with the same end result. Can you speak to them as to what?
Yes, definitely. So we've kind of mentioned a few other options with the CDPHE, because we do run into that a lot. You know, people are busy, you know, a lot of things going on, different projects. So if it works for the community, and if we can get, you know, the information that we need from like a shared Google document that lists all the potential sources of contamination, and then if we have that Google document and we share it with all the stakeholders, where you can go in, answer the questions, fill out the information, and if we can get the information that way, and then we would give it like a 2-week window where you can work on it on your own time. And then once we had that information all documented, you know, then once I get all the information, I can put the source water protection plan into place as a draft. And then once I have the draft, we could meet all together again, maybe for 30 minutes, just to look at the draft and review the draft. Of course, I would send it to y'all ahead of time, just so you have an idea of what's coming, and then just kind of discuss it, finalize it. Okay, that's what we want. And then I would make all the corrections and everything, and then I would send it to all the stakeholders again as a final draft. Once I get everybody's approval, then we can submit it, and then you guys can, you know, spend your money. Of course, before you spend any money, we have to finalize the plan, and then I have to submit a request to the CDPHE to spend the money. Once I get that approval, then you can spend it and you get reimbursed. So that is an option, and we've been trying that, but a lot of people like that idea. But then if we don't get the feedback and the information, then it doesn't work. So we have to have that participation to do that. So if that's something, go ahead.
How many stakeholders are you recommending, Gabriel, are needed for this
It's
committee?
completely up to the town of Kiowa. I sent Sasha and I think Kimberly
Yeah.
has a
It's
copy.
Kiowa Water and Wastewater, Gabriel.
What's that?
It's actually Kiowa Water and Wastewater. We're two separate entities.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's completely dependent on who you want on your stakeholder list.
Okay.
I mean, we can have anybody and everybody, but it's completely dependent on you. I've got a lot of people that like it smaller, the main stakeholders, the main board members, and things like that. And that way, because sometimes that makes the process move quicker. But if you have some major areas of concern and you want the CDOT there, you want forestry services there, it's completely up to the town of Kiowa.
Okay. On the initial list I gave Gabriel, I suggested entities like the fire department or the health department, those that would have some sort of input there. Should we have a catastrophe, like a gas tanker that goes off our bridge into our only water source that we have? I had suggested those types of entities sit here and have a voice in that. And really those that I felt we would get good feedback from, for a thorough, complete, plan.
Mhm.
So I can send you that list that we originally compiled.
Yeah, I
And
sent
you
them, I
guys-
sent them the list that he sent me.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And then if you guys have additions or subtractions from that, let me know.
Okay.
And then I can reach out to them and start forming that stakeholder committee for you.
And another things that we recommend is for the town to have a emergency response plan. I'm not sure if you have a emergency response.
Gabriel.
Okay.
We do
so
not. I think that would be critical.
So we also have people at CRWA that can assist you all with the emergency response plan as well.
Okay.
So I can
With-
reach
Was it
out
this one?
and get some more information and have someone reach out to you all to maybe start getting that going as well. And then, then it can be all kind of inclusive and we have kind of all of that, together and just get it all written up and we include that emergency response plan, those people in there who we want to include and, just have it all in there.
Together. They would run concurrently? Those two plans would run concurrently?
We I can talk with one of the individuals that writes those. I think that's Peter Heisman. I think you know him. You've worked with him before. And I'll reach out to him and see how he normally does it. And if it's something I can just include and just we kind of run it together, I think that would probably be better maybe, or would you want to keep that separate, after the source water protection plan? I think it'd be better to include it all together, but.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if we're able to run them concurrently, we'll have the same stakeholders at the table for both. So it just makes sense if we're able to do them at the same time.
Yes, yes, ma'am. And that's usually how most communities do it. And some communities already have an emergency response plan in place. And then that's like the starting point for the stakeholder list, automatically. So we can go ahead and just do it all together, I think. Because basically it's just putting that putting those stakeholders or those contacts together and communicating it, and then we'll write it up in the source water protection plan all together and just knock it out.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for your time.
Yes.
Thank you all. And again, please reach out if y'all have any questions, and I'll be in touch tomorrow, Sasha or Kimberly, to get a list and just maybe look at that stakeholder list. That way I can start getting any new members or people into that spreadsheet for the in-kind match.
Yeah, we'll add the new board members that aren't on here yet, so.
Wonderful. Thank you all. I'm excited to get this done. I've been waiting, and me and Kimberly have been plugging at it. And like I said, life happens and things happen, and sometimes you got to pause, take a break, and then get back to it. So I'm excited, and we'll get it done as quick as we can.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabriel.
Thank you all. Nice to meet everybody.
Yeah.
Have a good evening. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Sasha, is Paul not on?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, he is?
He's
At the bottom.
He's
with the
this.
phone.
Okay.
see, he's right there.
I just want to make sure before we move on to.
Yeah, before we
Staff reports. Paul, you're up.
Actually,
Should it's
financial reports.
Why do I always miss that
You
one?
always
I don't
say,
know.
Donnie.
Financial report. I do. I miss that one every time. Financial report. Sorry, Paul, you're not up yet.
Oh,
Financial report. Kimberly.
Yes.
thank you.
There was some revisions to, your financials. Laurel Jill found a few things today that my eyes didn't catch. Sometimes I read over them so many times that I just glaze right through them and don't catch those things. One was the legal fees. Legal fees, as they stand on your financials in your packet, actually show over your budgeted, amount of $20,000 for the year. However, when I go back and I take a closer look at those, I realize we paid December's invoices in January. So they fell under your 2025. So when I went back and made revisions to those and put them back in 2024 where they belonged, it brought you down to the amount that's reflective on your percentages table of, I believe it's 15,732. So you are at 79% of your budgeted amount right now for legal fees. And a direct response to that, at your request, I did communicate with your legal counsel as well as the towns and ask that they not be present for every single meeting. They would, we'll put in a request, or as a necessity to have them here, but anything else will be cognizant of whether that situation would require a legal opinion or response, and we'll table that item until we can get that from them and then address it at the next month's meeting, and they were understandable in that.
Good.
So, so there was that change, and, the formula that was calculating your total expenditures on the original one was calculating them incorrectly. So your total expenditures to date is at 13% or 229,216. So, you do have some big bills, or at least one. Teresa's got the folder over there for the sewer repairs. So those are gonna, keep coming in while those repairs are happening. And I'm hoping that we'll see an end to those at some point in the near future. Paul's report tonight, unfortunately, is gonna give you an update to a new problem that just arose yesterday.
The one question I had, as soon as I get to it here,
Mhm.
on the percentages of, on budget is, right there. Infrastructure repairs and maintenance water. It says we've spent 43,000 of that. 50, is that correct?
It
What
is
did we
correct,
spend that on?
unfortunately. I'll have to go back and pull a report for you to tell you exactly what that is, but
Okay, cause I didn't remember any big water expenditures, but I remember sewer, but I didn't remember any big water expenditures.
yeah, I went and double checked that because it was kind of mirroring at that point, the sewer. I
Right,
thought maybe I had something miscategorized, but it is water.
okay.
So I'll have to go back and pull that and tell you exactly what it is, because I don't have it in front of me right now.
Any other questions on financial report?
One thing to note is I seemingly overpaid your insurance this month somehow. They did send us back a check, but they wrote it in the town of Kiowa's name, so that will go in on Thursday. Then once that hits, I'll transfer the $5,051.77 back over to Kiowa Water and Wastewater. So that'll bring that 15,155 back down. Those payments come out quarterly.
Any other questions? Excellent. So now we'll go to the staff reports. Paul, now you're up.
Okay, as Kim mentioned already, we had another setback at the wastewater plant. Each basin, treatment basin has a decant arm, and the top 3 or 4 feet came loose and is floating in the basins on each side. and I'm guessing it could have been from the cold weather, maybe something froze in there and it just got heavy, I don't know. But in order to put those back on, apparently I called the manufacturer and they weigh about 800 or 900 pounds. So we would need a crane to come out there, and we can do one at a time. We'll take down a basin, have somebody get in there and reattach that thing, then fill that one back up and then drain the other basin and do it again over there. It should not affect the treatment process. It looks like everything is still working correctly. It just means that we have to get these on, so the system is back to normal.
How far reach is that?
Say again?
How far reach would that be from the edge to reach
Well,
those?
it's on the back side of the basin closest to the lagoon. So they can pull up on the side where the sludge haul truck sits, and then they'd have to reach across, and I'd have to measure it, but that could be, I don't know, 20, 30 feet across.
I can
and
reach
then
36, I can reach 36 feet with my boom.
Okay, yeah, that might be an option to do it, and it's the basin will be empty, so the thing will be laying on the bottom, so I'll have to pick it up the 20 feet or whatever to get it towards the top, 15, 20 feet, and then have somebody reconnect it with,
Okay.
and we probably get in there with ladders and do that. But we
Okay.
won't know exactly what kind of attachment it takes until we get it out of the water.
Okay, well, let me know. We'll stay in touch on that. See if we can get that fixed for reasonable price.
That would be awesome.
mobilization's expensive.
Huh?
That crane mobilization,
Oh,
it's not
very
even just
expensive.
doing the work, the mobilization of it is the most
Yeah.
expensive
My
part.
mobilization costs $0.
I know. I love that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So the lagoon is going down. We're already down about, I don't know, 6 inches to a foot. And then we have one of the lift station pumps is in place and working fine. And then they're going to come back out next week and grab the first one to take it back for warranty work. And then we have the third one that we still need to take in and get fixed. And then that should all be taken care of.
Once that's done and that lagoon is cleared out again. I'm thinking
Yeah,
to
I mean, we'll be able to keep emptying the lagoon while all this is happening.
Mhm. And the goal is that hopefully that we'll be able to get it lined. So if we have this
Yeah.
issue again, it'll be
I
lined.
found a couple companies that I'll contact that do lining of ponds. And get, quotes from them. So I found two, one that's just right up on like, Singing Hills. So they're my next little project to call.
Have you started that pumping already, Paul?
Yes.
It's down 6 inches to a foot. only.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what he was
That's what
referring
he's
Yeah.
referring to, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Perfect. Any questions for Paul? Thanks, Paul.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, staff reports, Kim Boyd, now the town administrator.
All right. Marty. I put town fire hydrants, I have a few others to add to it, but as regarding the town fire hydrants, Paul is scheduled to do the annual flushing of those on May 13th and 14th. He's gonna do those in segments. We're gonna put the signs out next to the fire hydrants, letting the public know what date is applicable to that fire hydrant, when that one's gonna be flushed. So we're gonna reuse last year's signs to save money. Vandalism issues. So I came to you guys last month and let you know we found issues with the hydrant in Nordum in February. After we found that, every Monday, I made a habit of driving the town before I came to the office looking for more. And the next 2 weeks did not disappoint. I found one at the post office that was cut. And then the following week, I found the one in front of the courthouse that was cut. At that point, I called the sheriff's department. That coupled with the water loss that Sasha is reporting is a felony, okay? Through the course of that deputy's investigation, the next couple of weeks, he actually used to be a fireman, so he thought in his head, maybe I should check with them and see if the fire department has any knowledge of this. And lo and behold, they took ownership of the post office and the courthouse. It seems they had moved live training over to various hydrants in town. We were not aware of this. The keys they had in their possession were not those firemen at that time for the training. The keys they had in their possession when they approached the fire hydrant were not the keys that went to the fire hydrant. So instead of foregoing that training and reporting to our office, the keys they had in their possession weren't working, they cut the locks. So after a conversation with them, I explained to them that those should only be cut in cases of emergency. Training is not an emergency, and moving forward, we would be invoicing them for any infrastructure that they destroy. However, they did say they've only used 400 gallons of water in a water truck. So that doesn't account for the difference between 3% and 11% loss of water. So the only conclusion the deputy can make is that whatever they did at Norton Park possibly attributed to that water loss that month. So he's leaving that in his report as part of an open investigation and leaving that as a felony, because that accounts for almost $7,000 worth of water loss by our calculations, if we're using bulk water prices, okay? So that's the issue there. We have taken measures, to try to catch who's doing this. So hopefully we'll be able to get some resolve to this in the near future. I'm not sure, but, right now that's where we're at with the situation. We can account for the last two. I didn't find any this Monday. And, right now we're still only dealing with Nordum. Do you have any questions?
Are they willing to pay for the locks now, to put back on?
I'm sorry.
Are they willing to pay for what the locks had cut off?
The locks that they cut off actually were old locks.
Okay.
So there weren't locks that we're gonna use again. Paul has replaced them with new locks. That, are the rekeyed ones, brand new ones, and they have keys for those now. So he's had meetings with his staff, got to the bottom of it, explained to them that that's the way it should be, they shouldn't have cut them, and that they're gonna be the cause of them having to pay for them moving forward. So,
Do they tell you which hydrant they're going to use for these training purposes?
they have not, I've asked them, to do that moving forward too. I was not aware, I was under the impression they had a fire hydrant at the training facilities that served for their training purposes.
Right,
That's actually a dummy fire hydrant. It's not a real fire hydrant. So in order to get the live training with a live hydrant, they have to utilize a fire hydrant in town. I told them moving forward, they need to make our office aware that they're doing that and where they're doing that, so that we don't run into this problem again. That deputy wasted a lot of time that he could have been doing other emergent stuff, just doing foot work on figuring out who has cut these locks, just to find out that it happened right here in town by somebody we gave permission to use the fire hydrants. They just were not using them appropriately. So, the messages have been relayed from myself to the chief and chief to his staff. So hopefully moving forward, neither one of us will have any more issues with this.
the training purposes, do they have to be using different hydrants around the town for the different?
They
training or
don't.
what?
They don't, from the explanation I received was because there was an easier access to those. Once the hose is hooked up and it's turned on. I'm not a firefighter, but I know there's an extreme force of water that comes through those. And, the extension of those because of that force is huge. And really, if they don't need to be doing that in a closed, a small area,
Mhm.
they can use the one at the post office and get that bigger area over there. And they're doing it on the weekends when there's nobody at the post office, there's nobody here. So I just asked that, out of courtesy, that they notify our office, let us know what they're using, because if they're turning on the water and any water is coming out of there, that's unmetered water. So,
Right. I was
Yeah.
thinking like the fairgrounds or someplace open, more open would be a better place to go, than you're not disrupting traffic or people or.
or any of that, yeah, well, they're using they used the post office on a Sunday when nobody was there.
Oh,
And of course-
nobody's there on a Sunday?
nobody's there on a Sunday, and the fire hydrants at the Justice Center, there's nobody there all weekend except for jail personnel who are in the building, so
Okay.
that's why they use that one over there as well,
I just,
yeah.
wow.
So, my last one was the mass notification system. You all received a test message, that went out successfully on March 31st to all our internal customers. So at the point where we were assured that the system's working appropriately, we pushed it out to social media, in the town newsletter, flyers at the post office, town hall. And it has also been sent out as an article to the Alfred County News, so that'll go out, for approximately 2 weeks. Starting next week. So, all the help we can get with you guys getting that word out would be great. People just will not get those messages if they don't sign up. We can't sign up for them. They have to do it for themselves, so. With water, I think it's critical with water, because when we have water main breaks or we have repairs and we've got to shut off water in certain areas of town. It's so much easier to get a message out instantaneous that way than for a multitude of people like yourself, Laurel, that don't use social media.
Mhm.
You know, so you're never gonna see it on social media because you don't have social media, and we don't have another avenue to make a mass message out to anybody in certain situations like that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thank you, Kim.
Yep.
Next item, Sasha Davidson.
All right, well, mine is pretty straightforward. As you can see, the amount of water we pumped and sold, the fire personnel did tell me, that they used 1,200 gallons. So we lost about, not quite 13%. And then, Kim and I were talking, cause, until Paul gets those meters replaced, which he's supposed to start doing soon. We will probably still show some loss as far as that goes, because those old meters are just not as efficient. And they only read by the 1,000 gallon, and so if they're old and the water's just kind of flowing through, they're not always predictable, and as people are starting to water, it'll be a little twitchy. I sent out 4 shut-off letters, all 4 of those people have already paid after this
Wow.
meeting, so yay. And I sent out 8 warning letters. So, so far as that goes, we're actually doing good. So I don't have that much else to share with you. I did send out those, things on the diamond maps. So, oh, that was something I was gonna mention, Paul with the locks. He's gonna go around and, get a list of all the hydrants that have a lock or will have a lock. And then I will add that into diamond maps too, so we will have record of which ones have a lock on them.
You have 15 locked right now,
Yeah,
out
Oh.
of 50 something.
and we got a lock put on the water tower door.
And
So,
signs.
and signs. So the door is locked now.
So for some context to her.
Yeah,
before-
sorry.
Some of you know, some of you don't. When my husband and I were in town last weekend before last, leaving town, we were driving by the water tower and the door at the bottom of the water tower is open. We realized there's no lock on it, so we had a discussion about it. And Paul has gone up there and secured it with a lock, and then we found a sign. It seems that the people that own the antennas on the top of the tower have access to that tower at will. I don't like that. That's a liability. So we put a lock on it and got a sign that said authorized personnel only. If you're trying to gain access to this tower, you need to call town hall or go to town hall to be able to achieve that. So that we have a key here, Paul has a key, they have to check the key out with us and then return the key to us. The door is no longer gonna be left unsecured.
We were afraid kids could get in there and get hurt,
Oh,
or
wow.
one of those workers, if they get hurt, so. So the tower is also locked now. It has a lock on the door.
We haven't got the fence up yet, have we?
No, because we have to get this grant money
Okay,
first.
that's why
with
I was
the-
thinking, yeah, we hadn't done
Yeah.
that yet, okay.
No, but the door, at least to the tower, is locked now, and there's a
Yeah.
sign that says, if you want access, you gotta come get a key and check it out.
Are we gonna have any kind of surveillance out there for security too, cameras or?
I don't know, that's another safety feature that we would, once like,
We could put it on the
Gabriel was
list.
saying,
Yeah.
getting this report done, getting this safe water protection plan done. All those things will be noted in this plan. So while we've earmarked this grant money for a security fence around the tower,
Mhm.
moving forward, we'll have a plan that states that they're recommending some sort of security up there, so we can find grant money easier by the things that are noted in this plan. We're updating our comp plan has benefited us greatly in that arena, because we have a comp plan now that identifies these areas where we need revisions done to the town, whatever they are, and getting that grant money is easier to find now and it makes us more competitive because we've already identified them through a study and a plan. So the same thing will be accomplished for us through the safe water plants. So it'll open us up to more grant money to get things like that done.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah.
Cause we're such a rural area and you don't have people around,
Mhm.
these facilities like you do in the city
Right,
or a more city type of situation.
right.
Which is depending on having to drive by.
Yeah,
So we're slowly taking care of these issues.
Yeah, and that's good.
Come
And
across
we had a
them.
grant to do it. And we will have the grant money.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to old business, finalize amended and restated operating agreement with Town of Kiowa. And I believe we had a copy of the final. Is there any questions on that? Cause we've already voted on it.
already voted on it. I didn't hear from anybody. I sent that out to you guys with, the requested revisions from last month. And it's complete in its entirety in your packet tonight with all the, exhibits.
It's not in that. She had
It's
sent,
not
she had sent you a
So
copy.
this is based on what we found last month about there was some,
Yep.
Your request
Problems
for
with
the
All
table.
of those
okay,
requests have been,
okay, because I haven't,
Fixed.
like I said, I haven't seen the latest version.
I sent them all out to your email.
I know, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that's all on that. Moving on, water tank rehab, McGuire.
Yes, sir.
Scope of work billing update. So please introduce yourself.
I'm Chuck with McGuire Iron, or McGuire Companies now, I guess. I've been with them since 2020. The company's been around since 1950. Still a family-owned entity. Been in the tank business since 2009 and infrastructure construction prior to that, so. And I guess this is pertaining to the Volta tank downtown here. Yeah. So, I've worked with Paul on various projects and the company does inspections, we do the renovations. We actually have a new construction arm as well, so. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I guess Paul had maybe reached out to me, or Sasha, did you reach out to me regarding renovating this tank?
yes, painting, sanding,
Yeah,
yes, yeah. And what you have in the packet is his updated proposal. Where he would do the work for the inside and the outside all at one time, but he would charge half the cost now and half the cost in a year. That way, he doesn't have to come back and make 2 trips, which would be more costly. He could just do it in one
One mobilization.
But he would charge you half now and half next year. a year
We
from now.
can't beat that deal.
No.
So he redid that contract for you.
That's one of the things our company's been able to do, very solvent and try to help small communities. In fact, Hasty's gonna be signing a contract tonight and we're trying to help them with the tank right there, just north of the reservoir, so. Kind of the same deal, spread out some costs and.
You came recommended by Elizabeth.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, yeah. In fact, we've got their 1,000,000-gallon tank, I think, is scheduled to be go under renovation in the middle of this month, so here in the next week, I guess it would be, so. Yeah, but it is this type of bolted tank it's a little unique. It's one of the first styles that was ever
Right.
ever designed and manufactured. It's undergone some different modifications and upgrades, and improvements to design, they still offer this same tank though. It's still a very economical tank. Do we know when the tank was built or installed?
No, Donnie, you have the longest memory of all of us, of involvement with all this.
Was
No,
it post 85? You think?
Right in that area.
I was
Right
gonna
in
say,
there.
I thought it was late eighties.
I would say late eighties, early nineties.
I was gonna say, yeah, based on how good it looks at this
Mhm.
point, I was really amazed. I had taken pictures in 2020 and 2021. And, I guess some of the notes I do wanna take a look at it again, since it's
Mhm.
been almost 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah,
And I'll schedule that with Paul. It'll probably be the, latter part of, see what the calendar here. So it probably might be the latter part of the week of the 21st. Or the week of the 28th, the last week of April,
Okay.
based on my schedule, but. Depending on how you folks wanna go, this probably wouldn't happen until fall at this point. I mean, we're booked out already. So it'd be a fall type project, or even if spring works out better for you. Couple things about the contract. If you sign it, it price protects you and you're the only one that can break it. So, but it is contingent on the
You
pictures
looking
I
at
can
sign.
take. Yeah, upgraded or
Right.
updated pictures, just to make sure nothing drastic has changed. But if it's been in service that long, it looks really good compared to a lot of that style of tank. So.
Well, that's good.
How long of a process is it? It's probably, I was thinking about that, as we were sitting here, and I think you're probably gonna be down at least a month. 4 to 6 weeks, cause some of this could be weather.
Right.
We could have a weather day.
And it has,
Yeah,
it has to dry and the paint has to have so
Yeah.
much cure
and
time.
that sealant that we're put on the
Mhm.
inside is about probably a good 14-day cure.
Hmm.
So that's 2 weeks of it right there. Right.
So what do we do meanwhile while you're working on the tank?
I think Paul can run the system.
Just
Yes.
bypass that
He'll,
tank.
he'll bypass that
Oh,
Oh,
tank.
really? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, he'll just run it off the other one and just run the chlorination.
So there's another tank?
The big
Well,
tank.
no,
Oh, the big
tower.
tank, the big tank, oh, that tank.
yeah.
Yeah.
Goddess up
The
there.
god, the goddess, as they call
The
it.
goddess.
Yes, they call it the
To
goddess.
that point, you folks were talking about surveillance and stuff. I would encourage you to go ahead and put the signage up, cause it's a deterrent. You
Mhm.
can just say this asset is under video.
Well, that tank over there
surveillance.
already has cameras on it.
That one does.
This one
Cause
over
that's
here,
our
Yes.
town
Okay.
shop as well, so we
Yeah,
already
the
have
shop.
cameras on that
Yeah.
one, yeah.
but even putting signs out on the tower. Right. Even if they're even thinking about it, they get to looking around and they think, ooh, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Just like no trespassing signs are just very helpful.
Mhm.
yeah,
It sets the precedence.
yes, it does.
And then you got the law on your side too.
That's
If
right.
they trespass, then call them up and go.
Right. I was also thinking about an alarm system on that. Some of the towns we work with have alarm systems on the hatch on the top. And so it could trigger a sheriff's department or police department that, hey. So somebody would have to say, hey, we're gonna be in that tower or on that tower this day. So, deactivate the alarm. But if that might be something that might be economical as well.
Okay,
Yeah, before you get sick, yeah, all that.
Oh, good idea to add to
Very
that
good.
security plan.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Mhm.
yeah.
So, yep. Well, this contract looks really good. We'll discuss it here and,
Sure.
yeah, we'll get back to you sooner than later, I'm sure. But yeah, that, makes it a little more sensible for us going forward. It's an item that we know that we have to get fixed,
Yeah, and it's good to be on the proactive side because trying to repair that tank is. Right. That's a little different than the tower.
Right.
Yeah. It's a different beast.
Yeah. Now, do you work on towers too and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably, that's kind of our wheelhouse, but we do the ground storage type things too. We built like, I was trying to think. I think we built like 20 some odd water towers this last year across 23 states,
Oh, wow,
so.
busy.
Yeah,
Busy.
so once you get with Paul, and can redo the pricing, and then you can just send it to me and I'll get
Yeah,
it to the board.
I don't see any adjustment in pricing unless there's
Something crazy. you
something
see.
crazy that we see on the interior of the tank. If we can nail down that was like post 85, we'll just consider it that there's no lead in the primer. Cause lead was outlawed in 78, 79.
Right.
So I could probably tell you it's later eighties then, because Paul just did an
Is it?
inventory of
Okay.
all the infrastructure that
Yes.
could potentially have lead and had to report it to the state.
And that
Okay.
was not on the list.
That was not on the list.
Okay,
Yep,
and given that style of tank, I would say it's post 85.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Otherwise,
feel like 87 is in my head for
Okay.
some reason,
yeah,
so,
well, I won't worry about pulling paint samples in to test, so we should be good.
okay.
Good.
excellent.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for the bid.
coming
Well, thank you for coming in.
Well,
We
you bet.
appreciate that very
Yeah,
much.
just up in Windsor, so
Oh,
don't throw away.
right,
Yeah,
right around the corner.
right around the corner.
Yep.
Okay, well, thank you, folks. Have a
Yep.
good
Thank
evening.
you.
Good evening. Thank you.
Thank you very
as
much.
well.
Look forward to working with you.
You bet.
Thank you.
Sir.
Mhm.
Do we want to put that into next month and
You'll have to make a vote on that, approving that amount,
right?
so, yeah.
Because, and then we can balance it with our, what we'll have to take out of. our
Yes, I
beginning
had a feeling
fund
that's what you
balance
guys were
and-
doing, so, yeah, we'll put it on next
For
month's
maybe.
agenda. Cause by then he'll be able to have the pictures done and do
Yeah,
a,
for it with Paul.
yeah.
yes.
But if we can get it done this year and pay half next year, I think we.
Oh, that's a great deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, well, defer that cost till 26 and
Yeah.
that'll help our budget a ton. I think.
Tremendously.
And it's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes,
so-
Right.
So that's what he was willing to do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
When I reached back out to him, I was like, hey. So,
That's awesome, cause that's not. Peanuts.
No.
So, all right, let's move on. Consent items, resolution number 3, series 2025. Do I have a motion to approve?
I make the motion to approve, resolution number 3, series 2025.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded to approve resolution number 3, series 2025. Do I have any further discussion?
You might wanna state on the record what that resolution is.
Resolution number 3, series 2025, a resolution to revoke the meter deposit and dissolve the meter deposit account.
So we asked Paul to put in your resolution that as these accounts are closed or as these accounts are, cause it follows the property, not the person. So as people come in and they sell these homes, if they've made a meter deposit and it's on record, then they will get that meter deposit refunded back to them, as those properties are closed off.
Closed, okay.
Yes.
I've seen that in there.
that way we
Great.
can just kind of step it down.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion on the table, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, resolution number 4, series 2025, a resolution establishing a designated public place for the posting of meeting notices as required by the Colorado Open Meetings Law. Do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve resolution number 4, series 2025, establishing a designated public place.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion on the table, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting of April 8th.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded to adjourn at 6:45. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion on the table, aye? Any opposed? I got it. We are adjourned at 6:45. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, ladies.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for
My
having
old hip.
both of those people on.